All right, let's get you up to Scottsdale. Mountain Pointe Pride on the road against the Chaparral Firebirds. Chaparral quarterback Jack Miller up top for his favorite receiver, Tommy Kostakis. I don't know how he came down with that. What a catch. That would then set up this Miller 9-yard touchdown strike to Marcus Norvell. That put the Firebirds on top 17-14. Mountain Pointe has an answer though. Jakeem McKinney dashes in from a yard out. End zone touchdown. Mountain Pointe reclaims the lead 21-17. Let's move to the fourth quarter. Mountain Pointe quarterback Nick Wallerstedt will keep it himself. Oh yeah, he's got the end zone touchdown 28-17. Pride.
Wow.
Yeah, Chaparral trying to mount a comeback instead. It's DeMonte Landrum with the INT right there. And yeah, on the road, Mountain Pointe walks away with a big 42-24 win. Cam.